The sound of skull meeting desk edge echoed through the classroom like a gunshot. Blood dripped onto Lily Anderson's calculus homework, spreading across the quadratic equations she'd spent 20 minutes solving. Her hand moved to her forehead, fingers coming away red and sticky. Behind her, Jake Harrison still had a fistful of her hair wrapped around his knuckles, yanking harder. "Look at the little mouse bleed," Jake laughed, twisting her hair until tears sprang to Lily's eyes. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in room 217 at Westfield High School, casting harsh shadows across 23 frozen faces. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. They just watched. Lily's hand found her phone in her pocket. 3 taps. Emergency mode activated. Her voice came out steady, clear, nothing like the terrified girl they expected. 911. "What's your emergency? I need to report an assault at Westfield High School. Room 217. The attacker is still present." Jake's grip loosened. His face drained white as printer paper. "What are you doing?" If you're feeling that rush of what's going to happen next, hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these stories. And if you want to share where you're watching from, drop it in the comments below. For those who want to support more stories like this one, there's a thanks button right under this video. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps me bring you more inspiring tales of courage and standing up for what's right. Thank you for being here. Now, let's see what happens when push comes to shove. 2 years, 730 days of torment, all leading to this moment. Lily Anderson wasn't the mouse anymore. She was the trap. And Jake Harrison had just stepped right in. 6 months earlier, Lily sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, laptop open to Texas Penal Code Section 22.01. Her mother's voice drifted from downstairs, sharp and professional, as she prepped another assault case for trial. Assistant District Attorney Catherine Anderson didn't just practice law, she breathed it, lived it, passed it down to her daughter like DNA. "Physical contact must result in bodily injury," Lily whispered, highlighting the text. Her smartwatch sat beside her, recording app already installed. She'd tested it 17 times. The clarity was perfect, picking up whispers from 15 feet away. Her bedroom door creaked open. Studying on a Saturday, Mrs. Anderson leaned against the doorframe, coffee mug in hand. "Research," Lily said, not looking up. Her mother's eyes caught the screen. Understanding dawned. "Baby, if someone's hurting you, you taught me to document everything." Lily met her mother's gaze. "That's what I'm doing." Mrs. Anderson sat beside her daughter, setting the mug on the nightstand. "The law is a weapon, but you have to know how to wield it. What are you dealing with?" "Nothing I can't handle." Lily closed the laptop. "Just need the right evidence." They sat in silence, mother and daughter, predator and prey learning to become hunter. Monday morning arrived like a storm front. Lily's smartwatch showed 100% battery as she checked it over breakfast. Her mother reviewed case files at the kitchen table, occasionally glancing up. "Remember, honey, violence is assault. Assault is a crime. Always." "I know, Mom." Lily shouldered her backpack, heavier than usual with the backup battery pack and extra phone she'd hidden in the inner pocket. "And if anyone, document everything." I remember. The October air bit cold as Lily walked the 7 blocks to Westfield High. Autumn had come early to Austin, painting the trees in burnt orange that matched the school's football banners hanging from every light pole. "State championships or bust," they declared. Jake Harrison's face grinned from half of them. Quarterback golden boy, untouchable king of Westfield High. She passed the parking lot where Jake's Ford F1 near 50 sat gleaming, surrounded by his usual crew. Connor Bradley leaned against the hood, tossing a football to Mason Turner. Their laughter carried across the asphalt like breaking glass. "Yo, Jake!" Connor called out. "You see the group chat. Coach wants us there early for practice." Jake didn't answer. He stood apart from them, staring at his phone screen with an expression Lily had only seen once before. 2 years ago, the day everything started. The memory hit her like ice water. Freshman year, second semester. She'd been heading to the library when strange sounds pulled her toward the boys' bathroom, crying, deep, broken sobs that didn't belong in a high school hallway. She'd pushed the door open just a crack. Jake Harrison, already 6'2" and varsity quarterback at 16, knelt on the grimy tile floor. His phone lay beside him, screen up, even from the doorway. She could read the text, "Changed my number. Stop trying to contact me. You're not my son anymore." Jake had looked up then, eyes red and swollen, and seen her frozen in the doorway. The transformation was instant. Vulnerability morphed to rage. Victim became predator. You saw nothing. Lily had run, but not fast enough. The next day, he'd cornered her at her locker, breath hot against her ear. "You tell anyone what you saw. You're dead. I own this school. I own you." The shove that followed sent her books flying. Students stepped around them, careful not to see, not to get involved. That was the first day. There would be 729 more. Earth to Anderson. Sophia Bennett's voice yanked Lily back to the present. Her best friend fell into step beside her, dark curls bouncing with each stride. "You okay? You've got that look again." "What look?" "Like you're planning something." Sophia studied her friend's face. "Is this about last week? The soda thing?" Last week, Jake had waited until the hallway was empty, until the security camera's blind spot. Mountain Dew, sticky green, poured over her head while Connor filmed and Mason laughed. The video hit Instagram within minutes. Loser shower trending among Westfield students for 3 days straight. "Maybe," Lily admitted. "Lil, you've got to tell someone. My mom taught me to handle things properly." Lily touched her smartwatch, still recording. "Trust me." They entered the main building, lockers slamming, voices echoing off industrial tile. Westfield High School, home of the Warriors, where football ruled and boys like Jake Harrison were gods among mortals. The trophy case gleamed with championship gold. Jake's MVP awards, front and center. "Did you hear?" a freshman girl whispered to her friend as they passed. "Jake's dad showed up drunk at the game last week. Security had to escort him out." "No wonder Jake's been extra psycho lately," her friend replied. Lily filed the information away. Patterns, triggers, everything had a cause and effect. Even cruelty. Room 217 smelled like chalk dust and teenage desperation. AP History with Mrs. Sullivan. Third period. Assigned seating that put Lily in the second row and Jake directly behind her. A seating chart designed by someone who'd never been hunted. She settled into her desk, pulling out her notebook and pen. The smartwatch kept recording, a digital witness to whatever came next. Other students filtered in Sophia 2 rows over, Connor and Mason flanking Jake like bodyguards. "Your hair looks so pullable today," Jake whispered, just loud enough for her to hear. His breath smelled like energy drinks and menace. Lily's pen moved across paper. Taking notes on the Civil War, Mrs. Sullivan droned about Gettysburg, about brother against brother, about wounds that never healed. Jake's fingers drummed against his desk. A countdown to something inevitable. Her phone vibrated. A news alert: local man arrested for assault after bar fight. The universe sending signals. Maybe. Or just Austin being Austin. Can anyone tell me the significance of July 3rd, 1863? Mrs. Sullivan turned to write on the board, her back to the class. That's when Jake stood up. The chair scraped against linoleum, a sound that made Lily's spine straighten. She kept her eyes forward, pen still moving, even as his shadow fell across her paper, in her peripheral vision. She saw Sophia's hand move to her phone. "I asked you a question this morning," Jake said, louder now. "You ignored me." "Mr. Harrison, please sit." Mrs. Sullivan started turning, but Jake was already moving. His hand shot out, fingers wrapping around a thick section of Lily's dark hair. For a moment, time stopped. 23 students held their breath. Sophia's phone came up. Camera ready. Connor and Mason exchanged glances, excitement or worry. Hard to tell. Then Jake yanked. Lily's head snapped back, neck straining. The second pull was harder, dragging her sideways out of her chair. The third brought her face down toward the desk edge. The crack of bone meeting wood. The wet warmth spreading across her forehead. The metallic taste of blood in her mouth. Through the pain. Through the gasps and screams of classmates. Lily's hand found her phone. Muscle memory kicked in. 3 taps. Emergency mode. 911. "What's your emergency?" Jake let go like her hair had turned to fire. "What are you? No, stop! I need to report an assault at Westfield High School. Room 217. Lily's voice came out clear. Professional. Her mother's daughter. "The attacker is still present. I have multiple witnesses and video evidence. Put the phone down." Mrs. Sullivan had finally turned around, face pale with shock. "Lily, hang up right now." But Lily was already standing, blood running down her face, phone pressed to her ear. "Yes, I'll need medical attention. Head wound, possible concussion. The attacker is Jake Harrison, 18 years old, white male, 6'2". Jake lunged for the phone. Lily sidestepped. Lawyer's daughter, knowing the game. "That's attempted obstruction of a 911 call. Please add it to the charges." "It was just, I didn't mean—" Jake's confidence crumbled like wet paper. Behind him, Connor and Mason backed away, suddenly very interested in the floor. "Officers are 4 minutes out," the dispatcher said. "Can you stay safe until they arrive?" Lily touched her forehead, fingers coming away red. "He's not going anywhere. The whole thing's on camera." She pointed to the security dome in the corner, then to Sophia, still filming. Multiple angles. Jake's face cycled through emotions like a broken slot machine. Anger, fear, panic, and something else, the same broken look from the bathroom 2 years ago. The boy whose father had disowned him, taking it out on anyone who'd witnessed his weakness. "Tell them it was a joke." Jake spun to face his friends. "Tell them—" Connor shook his head. Mason took another step back. The kingdom was crumbling, and the princes wanted no part of the fall. "Everyone, sit down." Mrs. Sullivan tried to regain control, but chaos had already won. Students were on their feet, phones out, documenting everything. The age of silence was over. Lily sank back into her chair. Phone still connected to dispatch. Her head throbbed, vision swimming slightly. But satisfaction coursed through her veins like electricity. 6 months of planning, of documenting, of waiting for Jake to cross the line from harassment to assault. Why? Jake's voice cracked. He stood in the middle of the room like a lost child. Why are you doing this? Lily looked at him, really looked at him. The golden boy quarterback with the dead father and the violent hands. The king who'd built his throne on others' silence. Because you taught me something, she said. Pain is a teacher, and I'm done being your student. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Justice approaching at 70 miles per hour. Lights and badges and consequences Jake Harrison had never faced. The classroom door burst open. Coach Matthews filled the doorway. 6'4" of former NFL glory gone to seed. His eyes found Jake, then the blood on Lily's face, then the phones recording everything. What did you do, for once? The question wasn't directed at the victim. Coach! She called the cops. Jake's voice pitched high, desperate. You have to! Everyone back to your seats! Coach Matthews boomed. But authority meant nothing in a room full of witnesses. Jake, don't say another word. I'm calling your parents. His dad won't come. Someone whispered, remember the game. The sirens were right outside now, through the window. Lily could see patrol cars pulling into the parking lot. Her phone buzzed with texts, the video already spreading, already viral. Taput, justice. For Lily, birthed in real time. My smartwatch, Lily said, loud enough for everyone to hear. She held up her wrist. 6 months of recordings, every threat, every push, every day you made my life hell. All documented, all saved. Jake's legs gave out. He sank into an empty desk, head in his hands. I just... Well, you just thought nobody would ever fight back, Sophia said, still filming. You picked the wrong girl. Footsteps in the hallway, radio chatter. The door opened again, and 2 officers entered. Officer Chen, according to his badge, went straight to Lily. You're the one who called. Yes, sir. I'm Lily Anderson. That's Jake Harrison. She pointed with a steady hand. He assaulted me. It's all on video. We need paramedics, Officer Chen told his partner, examining Lily's wound. Possible concussion. The second officer approached Jake. Son, I need you to stand up and put your hands behind your back. No. Jake looked wildly around the room, searching for support that wasn't coming. Tell them it was just assault, Lily finished. Just like you've been doing for 2 years, except this time, I bled. This time, it counts. The handcuffs clicked like punctuation. Jake Harrison, Golden Boy, Quarterback King, was under arrest. The throne had fallen. And in its place stood a girl with blood on her face and law in her bones. You have the right to remain silent, the officer began, but Lily wasn't done. She stood, swaying slightly, and faced her tormentor one last time. You know what the funny thing is? I kept your secret. 2 years. And I never told anyone about that day in the bathroom. About your dad. About why you really became this. She gestured at him. You did all this for nothing. Jake's face crumbled. The secret was out, floating in the air like smoke. 23 students now knew what Lily had known all along. The bully was just another broken boy, taking his pain out on the world. Please, Jake whispered. Please don't." "Document everything," Lily said. "That's what my mother taught me. Everything." The officers led Jake out, his football career dying with each step. Coach Matthews followed, phone pressed to his ear, damage control already starting. But some things couldn't be controlled anymore. "Ma'am, we need to get you to the nurse," Officer Chen said gently. Lily nodded, then stopped. "Wait, I need to make another call first." She dialed, hands finally starting to shake as adrenaline faded. One ring, two. Assistant District Attorney Anderson's office. "Mom," Lily's voice finally cracked. "I did it. I did what you taught me." Silence on the other end. Then, "I'm on my way. Don't say anything else until I get there. And baby, I'm proud of you." The line went dead. Around her, classmates stood in stunned silence, phones still recording, still documenting. The age of silence was over. The age of consequences had begun. And in room 217 of Westfield High School, where blood still dotted the floor and justice had finally visited, Lily Anderson smiled. The mouse had become the trap. The prey had become the hunter. And Jake Harrison, he was just another statistic now. Another bully who'd learned too late that some victims bite back. Some victims know the law. The nurse's office smelled like antiseptic and broken dreams. Lily sat on the paper-covered bed, holding gauze to her forehead, while Nurse Patricia prepared the suture kit. Through the thin walls, she could hear the chaos erupting in the hallway, students shouting, teachers trying to maintain order, the whole careful ecosystem of Westfield High collapsing. 3 stitches should do it, Nurse Patricia said softly. This might sting. I've had worse, Lily replied, thinking of 2 years of invisible wounds. Her phone buzzed constantly. Sophia's video had already hit 10,000 views. Comments poured in faster than she could read. Justice, for Lily, trending locally. The revolution had begun, and it was being live-tweeted. The door burst open. Catherine Anderson stood there in full lawyer-mode power suit, briefcase, and eyes that could freeze hell. She took in her daughter's injury with the clinical detachment of someone who'd seen worse. Then let the mother break through. My baby. She crossed the room in 3 strides, examining the wound. Tell me everything. From the beginning. He pulled my hair, slammed my head into the desk. I called 911. Lily kept it simple, factual. It's all recorded. Video and audio. Good girl. Mrs. Anderson's hand was gentle on her daughter's cheek. You did everything right. There's more. Lily pulled out her phone, opened the evidence folder. 6 months of documentation, every incident, every threat, 127 separate files. Her mother's eyes widened. You've been building a case. I learned from the best. Nurse Patricia cleared her throat. I need to finish these stitches. Of course. Mrs. Anderson stepped back but didn't go far. Has the principal been notified? He's on his way, the nurse said, threading the needle, along with half the school board, from what I hear. Perfect. Catherine Anderson smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile she wore in court, before destroying a defendant. Good. We have much to discuss. 20 minutes later, Principal Derek Morrison's office looked like a war room. The principal himself sat behind his desk, sweating through his shirt. Coach Matthews paced by the window, the school's lawyer. A nervous man named Peterson clutched a legal pad like a life preserver. Mrs. Anderson sat across from them, Lily beside her, still holding an ice pack to her head. The power dynamic in the room was clear. 3 grown men terrified of one woman with the law on her side. "Let me understand this," Mrs. Anderson said, voice deadly calm. "My daughter filed 17 separate incident reports over 2 years, all regarding Jake Harrison. And you did—" "What exactly?" Morrison shifted in his seat. "We spoke to Jake each time, gave warnings." "Warnings?" She tested the word like spoiled milk. "A student terrorizes my daughter for 2 years, and you gave warnings." "Jake is our star quarterback," Coach Matthews interjected. "We have a championship to think about." "Are you seriously telling me?" Mrs. Anderson's voice dropped to sub-zero. "That you prioritized football over my daughter's safety?" Peterson tried to intervene. "What Coach Matthews means is, I know exactly what he means." She opened her briefcase, pulled out a folder 2 inches thick. "Every report my daughter filed, every email I sent expressing concern, every response telling me it was being handled. Would you like me to read them aloud? I'm sure the news crews outside would love to hear them." "News crews?" Morrison went pale. "Oh yes, 3 local stations so far. CNN just called." She smiled that not nice smile again. "Turns out, people care about systematic bullying cover-ups, especially when there's video." Lily's phone buzzed. The video had hit 50,000 views. Comments were pouring in from around the country. Other victims sharing their stories. Jake Harrison becoming the face of every bully who'd never faced consequences. "What do you want?" Morrison asked finally. "Justice," Mrs. Anderson said simply. "Real consequences, and changes to ensure this never happens again." Before anyone could respond, shouting erupted outside, through the office window. They could see a commotion in the parking lot. A man stumbled out of a pickup truck, clearly intoxicated even from a distance. Behind him, a woman in yoga clothes tried to hold him back. "That's Jake's parents," Coach Matthews said unnecessarily. Robert Harrison looked exactly like his son might, in 20 years, same height, same build, same anger rotting him from the inside. He stormed toward the main entrance, his wife Kelly trailing behind. "This should be interesting," Mrs. Anderson murmured. They didn't have to wait long. The office door slammed open, and Robert Harrison filled the doorway, reeking of whiskey and rage. "Where is she?" he slurred, eyes finding Lily. "Where's the little bitch who ruined my son's life?" "Mr. Harrison," Principal Morrison started. "Shut up," Robert pointed a shaking finger at Lily. "You destroyed his future, his scholarship, everything." "Your son destroyed his own future," Mrs. Anderson said, standing. "And I suggest you step back before you add to his charges." "You threatening me?" Robert took a step forward. "No, I'm promising you." She pulled out her phone. "One more step, and you'll be sharing a cell with your son, drunk and disorderly, attempted intimidation of a witness, and I'm sure we can find more." Kelly Harrison finally spoke up, voice small. "Robert, please, you're making it worse." "Worse?" He spun on his wife. "Our son is in jail because of this, because of his own actions," Lily interrupted, standing despite the dizziness, "just like you taught him." The room went silent. Robert Harrison's face went through several shades of red. "What did you say?" "I said you taught him." Lily met his eyes, saw Jake's future staring back. "Every time you screamed at him for losing a game, every time you showed up drunk and embarrassed him, every time you made him feel worthless, he learned from you." "Lily," her mother warned, but Lily was done being silent. 2 years ago, You disowned him, told him he wasn't your son anymore, and instead of dealing with that pain, he took it out on anyone weaker, anyone who couldn't fight back. She touched her stitches. Until today. Robert's face crumbled like his son's had. The anger dissolved into something worse: recognition. In the silence, Kelly Harrison started crying. "Get out," Principal Morrison said quietly. "Both of you. Your son is being processed at county. You can see him there." They left. Robert deflated. Kelly still crying. The office felt smaller somehow. Poisoned by years of dysfunction, finally exposed. "Now," Mrs. Anderson said, turning back to the three men, "let's discuss reforms, starting with zero tolerance for bullying, regardless of athletic status." While the adults negotiated Westfield High's future, Lily stepped into the hallway. Students clustered in groups, all on their phones, all watching the video. When they saw her, conversations stopped. Then someone started clapping. It was Ethan Park, a sophomore who'd transferred in last year. Lily remembered Jake shoving him into lockers, stealing his lunch money like some 80s movie cliché. Ethan clapped, and others joined. Soon, the whole hallway was applauding. "Thank you," a girl whispered as Lily passed. "He did the same to me freshman year." "My brother transferred schools because of Jake," another said. Stories poured out like water from a broken dam. Jake's victims emerging from silence, emboldened by one girl who'd refused to stay quiet. Lily listened to each one, her phone recording, building the case that would ensure Jake Harrison never hurt anyone again. Sophia appeared at her elbow. "You need to see this." She held out her phone. The video was everywhere now: Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. But that wasn't what Sophia wanted to show her. She'd opened the comments on Jake's Instagram. His teammates were turning on him. "Bro had it coming," Connor had written. "Tired of covering for him. Jake been wild since his dad bounced. No excuse, though," from Mason. "Thank God someone finally stopped him," from a cheerleader. "He grabbed me at a party last year. Nobody believed me." The kingdom hadn't just fallen. It had been torn down brick by its own subjects. "There's more," Sophia scrolled. "Local news wants an interview. The district attorney's office called. And," she hesitated, "Jake's asking to see you." "What?" "From jail. He wants to apologize, apparently." Lily almost laughed. 2 years of torture, and now he wanted to apologize because he'd been caught, because there were consequences. "Maybe later," she said. Much later, and the day blurred after that. Statements to police, medical evaluations, more statements. The school board convened an emergency meeting. Coach Matthews was suspended pending investigation. Zero-tolerance policies were drafted on the spot. By evening, Lily sat in her living room, head throbbing despite the pain medication. Her mother sat beside her, both of them watching the news coverage. Tonight, a shocking incident at Westfield High School has sparked a national conversation about bullying, the anchor said. When 18-year-old Jake Harrison assaulted classmate Lily Anderson, he didn't expect her to call 911 from the classroom. They showed a censored version of the video. Jake's face blurred, but his actions clear. Then came the interviews, students describing years of abuse. Parents demanding answers. Experts discussing the long-term effects of bullying. "You started something," her mother said softly. "I just wanted it to stop." Lily replied, "No, it." Anderson turned to face her daughter. "You wanted justice. There's a difference, and you got it." Her phone rang. Unknown number. Lily almost didn't answer. Then curiosity won. "Hello. Is this Lily Anderson?" The voice was young, nervous. "My name is Rebecca Chen. I'm a sophomore at Riverside High. I saw your video and the same thing is happening to me. Every day. And nobody does anything." Lily sat up straighter. "Tell me everything." For 30 minutes. She listened to Rebecca's story. Another Jake Harrison, another school protecting their athlete, another girl suffering in silence. By the time they hung up, Lily had given her a roadmap document, everything. Know your rights. Don't be afraid to use the law. "There are more," Lily told her mother. "So many more." That night, she couldn't sleep. Her head hurt, but her mind raced faster. She pulled out her laptop and started coding. By dawn, she had a rough framework and app that would help bullying victims document incidents, understand their legal rights, connect with resources. She called it Standup. Monday morning came too soon. Lily stood outside Westfield High, watching students stream through the doors. The banners celebrating Jake were gone. The trophy case had been rearranged. His MVP awards moved to the back. "You sure about this?" her mother asked. "I'm sure." Lily adjusted her backpack, careful of her stitches. "I'm not letting them chase me away." The hallways were different now. Still whispers, still stares, but tinged with something new, respect. A few people nodded as she passed. Others offered small smiles. The culture was shifting, slowly but certainly. In first period, Mrs. Chen pulled her aside. "I wanted to say thank you. My daughter, she goes to middle school across town. She's been dealing with bullies too. Your story gave her courage to report them." By lunch, Lily had heard a dozen similar stories. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from around the country. Victims finding their voices, parents finding hope, schools being forced to confront their failures. "You're famous," Sophia said, sliding into the seat across from her. "I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to be safe." Sometimes you have to be one to get the other. After school, Lily presented Stand Up to the school board. Her mother had pulled strings, gotten her 15 minutes to pitch. She stood before them, 17 years old with stitches still fresh, and outlined her vision. "Every school has a Jake Harrison," she said. "Every school has victims suffering in silence. This app changes that. Documentation made easy, legal resources at your fingertips, a community of support." "Who would develop this?" Morrison asked. "I will, with help." She clicked to the next slide. "I've already got a team interested. Coders from MIT saw the video, legal advisors from my mom's firm, counselors who specialize in trauma. Funding. GoFundMe hit 100,000 this morning. Tech companies are calling. Everyone wants to be part of the solution." They voted unanimously to pilot the program at Westfield. Within a month, the district adopted it. Within 6 months, the state was interested. Lily Anderson, the quiet girl who'd bled in history class, was building something that would outlast any bully's reign. The trial came in spring. Jake pled guilty to assault, got probation and mandatory counseling. No jail time, his lawyer was too good for that, but his football dreams were dead. Last anyone heard, he was working at his uncle's auto shop, going to therapy twice a week, trying to rebuild himself into someone better. He'd written Lily a letter. She'd read it once, then filed it away. The apology felt real, but trust took longer to rebuild than futures to destroy. "Do you forgive him?" a reporter asked during one of many interviews. "I hope he gets help." Lily answered carefully, "I hope he never hurts anyone again. But forgiveness That's not my job. My job was to stop him, and I did. Stand-Up launched nationally on the one-year anniversary of the assault. Lily stood on stage at a tech conference, no longer the quiet girl in the back row. The scar on her forehead had faded, but not disappeared, a reminder that some victories came with a price. Pain is a teacher, she told the crowd of educators, parents, and former victims. But suffering in silence isn't noble. It's just suffering. Document everything, know your rights, and never be afraid to dial those 3 numbers. Behind her, the screen showed statistics. Bullying reports up 300% since Stand-Up launched. Not because there was more bullying, but because victims were finally speaking up. Prosecutions for assault in schools had doubled. Zero-tolerance policies were becoming standard. Some people say I ruined a young man's life, Lily continued. That I should have handled it differently. To them. I say this, Jake Harrison ruined his own life the moment he chose violence. I just made sure there were consequences. Applause thundered through the auditorium. Lily smiled, thinking of all the quiet kids in back rows around the country. All the victims who'd been told to stay silent, to not make waves, to protect their bullies' futures at the expense of their own safety. The age of silence is over, she said. The age of accountability has begun. And to every bully out there, every Jake Harrison who thinks they're untouchable, remember this: your victims aren't mice anymore. They're not prey. They have phones, they have rights, and they have had enough. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Later, backstage, Lily checked her phone. Messages from around the world. A girl in Japan who'd used the app to document harassment. A boy in England whose school finally took action. Parents thanking her for giving their children tools to fight back. Ready for the next interview? Sophia asked. She'd become Lily's unofficial manager, handling the endless media requests. 1 more minute. Lily scrolled through her contacts. Found Rebecca Chen's number. The girl who'd called that first night. Desperate for help. How are you? Lily typed. Free, came the response. My bully got expelled last week. School implemented new policies. I'm testifying at the school board next month about making changes district-wide. Proud of you. Learned from the best. Thank you for showing me I didn't have to suffer in silence. Lily smiled, pocketing her phone. She thought about Jake Harrison, probably under a car somewhere, learning to fix what he'd spent so long breaking. She thought about his father, who'd hopefully gotten help for his drinking. She thought about all the systemic failures that created bullies and enabled them. There was still work to do. Always would be. But for now, for today, she'd won. Not with fists or cruel words, but with documentation and determination, with the law as her weapon and justice as her guide. Okay, she told Sophia. Let's go change the world. They walked toward the green room where another reporter waited. Another chance to spread the message. Behind them, the auditorium slowly emptied, but the energy remained. Change was coming. 1 phone call at a time, 1 stand at a time. And somewhere in a classroom, a quiet kid was downloading Stand-Up, ready to fight back. The mouse had become the trap. The trap had become a movement. And the movement, it was just getting started. In her pocket. Lily's phone buzzed. Another victim reaching out. Another story of pain, looking for justice. She smiled, remembering her mother's words from that morning 2 years ago. The law is a weapon, but you have to know how to wield it. Now thousands of kids around the world were learning to wield it. Jake Harrison had created a victim, but Lily Anderson had created an army, and that army was done being silent. The revolution wasn't televised. It was uploaded, shared, liked, and implemented, one app at a time, one voice at a time, one victory at a time. Justice, it turned out, was contagious. And Lily Anderson, she was patient zero in the best possible pandemic, the spread of courage, the viral nature of standing up, the unstoppable force of victims who refused to remain victims. She touched the small scar on her forehead one last time before facing the cameras again. Some wounds healed into reminders. Some reminders became rallying cries. And sometimes, just sometimes, a quiet girl with a phone could change everything. The age of consequences had begun, and it was about damn time. 5 years later, Lily Anderson stood before Congress, testifying about the Safe Schools Act. Her scar had faded to a thin white line, barely visible under the hearing room lights. Behind her sat hundreds of supporters, former victims who'd found their voices, parents who'd lost children to bullying-related suicide, educators who'd fought for change. "When I was 17, she began, voice steady and clear. "A classmate assaulted me in front of 23 witnesses. For 2 years before that, he terrorized me daily. The system that should have protected me chose to protect him instead. So I protected myself." The senators listened intently. This wasn't just another activist. This was the girl who'd changed everything, whose bloody face had launched a movement that swept across nations. Today, Standup has 3 million active users across 47 countries. We've documented over 200,000 incidents of bullying. More importantly, we've prevented countless others. She paused, meeting each senator's eyes. But technology isn't enough. We need laws with teeth. We need administrators who can't hide behind athletic programs. We need a system that values victims' safety over bullies' futures. In the gallery, Jake Harrison sat quietly, 23 now. He'd reached out 6 months ago, asking to support the legislation. Years of therapy had transformed him from predator to advocate. He spoke at schools now, telling his story from the other side, warning young athletes about the price of unchecked anger. The Safe Schools Act passed 6 months later. Mandatory reporting, real consequences, protection for victims who spoke up. Lily watched from the gallery as the president signed it into law, her mother beside her, both of them crying. The age of consequences wasn't ending. It was evolving, growing, spreading like wildfire across a world that had tolerated bullies for too long. And Lily Anderson, she was just getting started.